Are we? Hopefully there's intro music. I have no idea if there is or not,
I'm
but I'm
starting
bobbing
off.
my head.
Starting the music.
All right, everyone, welcome. We are No Shots Fired, and this is the No Shots Fired podcast. It's been many a moon since we've talked to you about the great art of gaming, but NSF's very own Doc and I are back to tickle your funny bones with all sorts of little tidbits about what we are and aren't doing, what we do and do not plan to do in this great year of 2017. So my co-host, the man you've all been waiting for, Doc, introduce yourself to the fans at home.
Well, hello. I say it's good to be back. On our regular podcasting schedule.
Right.
As we've always
I
talked
don't
about. Right back into it at episode 6 here. So, yeah,
We'll all be...
hopefully some of these plans turn out a little better than our previous plans.
Well, I think the listeners will be happy to know that consistency was one of the...
It's like the first thing on our document for podcasting.
So we've really we've nailed that one in 2016.
I think so.
So we don't have to work that out at all in 2017.
That's one.
This is episode 6. Apparently we did 5 other episodes. I don't even remember doing that many.
I think they're on our YouTube channel.
Well, there you go. If you want to check out the first 5 episodes, go to our YouTube channel. That's No Shots Fired TV.
I think that's correct, yeah.
We have dozens of total views across all of our videos. Dozens. Maybe. That might actually be high. Anyway, this is episode 6, the Sarcastic Fringehead, which is aptly named for a type of fish, a bird.
I think it's a fish. It's a fish.
I was going to hit you with some knowledge about whatever that is, but apparently that's all we have.
Hey, the fact that we're broadcasting at all, that's...
Everybody should be honored that we're doing this at all.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so this episode, what we're going to be talking about is what we're doing here. Again, what we're playing in 2016, or 2017, it is a new year, what we're looking forward to, what we're already playing, and some of our little resolutions for the year.
I think so. Yeah.
Let's just start out with one of the games that you and I have both started playing again, Doc, Halo 5, and I feel like that's more out of desperation for a good, solid shooter right now.
At least on the console, yeah, for sure. Because we've fallen off of Destiny pretty hard.
Destiny has definitely dropped off the map. They couldn't pull us back in. They had a recent winter event of some type where they brought back a particularly miserable form of the game they like to call Sparrow Racing, which is their take at the Star Wars speeder bike.
I say, shocker that the first-person shooter isn't a great racing game.
Yeah, they didn't seem to work too hard on the racing aspect of the game. That actually makes me think of something, speaking of Halo and Destiny, something I really miss is the strong vehicle-based play of the older Halo versions. I don't think Halo 5 does it quite as well. It's pretty good. But I feel like 3, and to a lesser extent, 4, no, really, it was kind of like 2 was really good, 1 was really good.
3 was the sweet spot for vehicles, I think you're right.
3 was the sweet spot.
Valhalla and a few of those other maps. For Capture the Flag, I think specifically is probably what you're talking about. Definitely.
Exactly. Now, this can't possibly be right, but our viewer count jumped up to 7, and if you have actually started watching this stream, welcome. We're No Shots Fired. We're doing a podcast on games. Games coming up this current year, games we're playing right now, what we plan to do this current year, and we'd love to hear your individual voices on what you have or haven't been doing, because sometimes what you haven't been doing is as important as what you have. That's kind of a Zen thing I'm working on. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. Halo and Halo 5 we've been playing on console-based games, and then old mainstays like Counter-Strike, Rocket League. Mm-hmm. Is that it? What else are we doing? We're not doing Destiny as much anymore.
No, we're not.
Again, because Destiny has kind of run out of content, and the multiplayer gameplay in Destiny, I think we both think this leaves a lot to be desired.
It's just, it's frustrating at the moment. It's basically all this, we're all, we played a fair amount of it. We're all max level pretty much, right? I don't think we have any gear to get, and there's just not there's nothing to chase. Really, is the problem with Destiny.
I have a question. As somebody who doesn't play a lot of MMOs, and I guess you don't either, but how do they keep people coming back in most MMOs? I know that Destiny isn't technically
But
a mass.
it's definitely trying that model for sure.
Right.
And I said I don't really play them either, but I think it's a better live content team. Like it's a they're constantly releasing. At least in Warcraft, I hear about raids all the time. There's
Right.
better planned events. They're more frequent. So I think the raids are also a bit harder. Just kind of in the way RPGs can be as opposed to shooters. Not I mean the Destiny raids are fantastic, but I think they might wear thin a bit sooner than MMO ones necessarily.
I also know that with World of Warcraft, well, I'm 90% on everything I'm going to say, but the world I think is a lot bigger and actually
That's true.
not like Destiny has like individual game spaces. I guess I don't know. I really don't know how it works, but I'd be curious because I feel like the first company to do a MMO style first person shooter really well is going to make a lot of money for a long time, and I think Destiny's done very well.
If they can build on, or at least take the positives from Destiny 1, and if Destiny 2 turns out to fulfill a few more of the promises, then they could definitely have something on their hands for sure. But that's kind of a big ass at the moment.
Yeah. So in 2017, speaking of things we're looking forward to, that is one thing I guess I'd say I'm looking forward to is Destiny 2. That's coming out this year, right?
You would think so. I've heard kind of varying confidence as to how that game is doing in terms of development. I would say it needs to, probably. I don't think they can, because they don't have any content plans as far as I'm aware of. And I don't think they can go through a whole year with no significant additions if they want to keep that player base near what it, has been.
Right. I feel like the only way you keep people interested is either you keep releasing content or you have such a robust multiplayer model that people keep coming back, like Counter-Strike, for example, just because the gameplay is so balanced and so solid. I think it's disappointing. Here's something. Like Counter-Strike doesn't actually have to do this because the multiplayer is so good, but
yeah.
I feel like a lot of companies don't capitalize on the fact that Destiny could do this really well if they had better maps, for one. Two, if they had a competitive experience, because they have almost none of that right now, no real ranking system.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. There's no visible one, at least.
Right. Which I think part of a ranking system is its visibility, because you like to feel like it's good to know where you stand, even if the ranking system isn't very robust. It's good to know where you stand within
it's something to chase. Increasing my rank is something to
exactly.
A measurable amount of progress. So.
Right. Even if it's arbitrary, people will log on just to do that. And a cool thing that they could do with something like Destiny that they do with games like League of Legends frequently is you'd have some sort of scheduled seasonal or quarterly update and rebalance weapons or release new weapons or things like that. I think League of Legends actually does that really well because that's one way they keep the gameplay fresh, is continually tweaking their champions and releasing new champions and making so that people have to figure out this new meta. And Destiny has not been very good at that. They will change things, I think, which is the start of that, but it doesn't feel structured. No. It feels random and arbitrary.
And they definitely were changing the weapon balance, fairly often in the beginning, but that's definitely fallen off. You're right. That's very true.
At this point, they probably just don't care. I think the way that major game companies have to start thinking about games, because if they don't, I think more and more companies like Riot that does League of Legends are going to start taking up people's time in that market share. But I think the way people have to start thinking about games is not as discrete releases anymore, since you can, the only reason that the current model really still exists of like Destiny 1, 2, 3, Halo 1, 2, 3, 4 is, in the past, 10 years ago, you couldn't push out massive updates and sell games online. But now that you can do that, we've entered this brave new world where if you have a good MMO type experience. You can keep releasing content on the same platform and updates on the same platform.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go for a different pay model altogether, which I actually think has to be more profitable when you have like a World of Warcraft type experience where you're getting people to pay a monthly subscription.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or Riot does it in terms of people buying new champions or new skins, which is actually a very interesting model, I think, and one that a lot of other games have started to try to emulate, but none as successfully as...
Yeah, Rocket League's even doing that with the crates, and Counter-Strike does it with the gun skins.
Yeah, everybody... Actually, what I wanted to do, and if I could have figured out how to do this, I guess we sent out some emails randomly saying we would try to do this for people, but nobody ever responded. But I thought a consulting company based purely around helping different companies release content in that sort of way, or I guess I don't know what you call that. It's not really pay for play. It's more that add-on revenue.
It's a way to monetize without affecting the actual game itself.
Right.
It's all visual stuff. It's not so it doesn't mess with the gameplay sort of thing.
Which I find intriguing. All right, our viewer count has, I think, appropriately bottomed out at 1.
Which is not true. There are 2 of us watching this.
Right. So once again, the Twitch viewer count, horrible. In 2017, I'm not going to worry about viewers because we'll have millions by the end of 2017, I'm sure.
That's the plan.
Just with, let's see, oh, you've got 35 followers. I wonder how many followers remain on my...
You amassed quite the following with the Taco Tuesday stuff, so...
We did. We as Taco Tuesday. We made a dent. We made a dent in the marketplace, but the grind of that lifestyle really gets to you eventually.
The Taco Tuesday is not for the light of heart, that's for sure.
For those of you randomly tuning in who don't know who we are, kudos for making it this far into what I assume is a recording. Kudos to you. And what we're talking about is the erstwhile broadcasting that Doc and I used to do, and undoubtedly will do again in this coming year, under my name, NSF_Valen, which we call Taco Tuesday, which is just a gathering of friends where you eat some food, you share some stories, share some laughs. We have people come and tell us about their lives. It's a good time, and you should stop by if and when we ever do that ever again.
Hopefully we can get that going again. That was always fun.
But, it's tough when our old companions, Manimus and J Money, are off adventuring in the world and we don't know where they are.
We got to get
or if they'll ever return.
I'd say we'll get them back. Maybe.
I think J Money... Manimus should have some time this semester, too, now.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see what we can do.
Are there any movies coming up this year that you're looking forward to seeing?
Oh, man. Well, Star Wars Episode 8, for sure.
Oh, is that this year? Awesome.
That is the end of this year. I'll probably go see whatever comic book stuff they come out with, because it's just big, dumb action at this point, which I enjoy. So
right. Well done, dumb action, and I can't really... I have always been a fan of well done, dumb action.
And I know just enough about the comics to, know the characters' names and, vague backstories, but not enough to care about if they butcher it or not. So it's a really sweet spot to be in.
You're in the perfect spot. Really, actually, probably you're kind of the average viewer of most of these then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Which feels like I'm actually insulting you, probably.
What can you do? But in terms of games, I've got 2 big ones this year. I guess 3 now that I know Mass Effect is actually happening. And you need to
okay.
So Mass Effect Andromeda is the first one. Into March, I believe, is the state. And I'll just be interested to see where they take it. Because I guess as long as it still has that structure of Mass Effect, that's what, the story and the characters and the different planets you went to and the different aliens you interacted with was really the selling point of that series. But they put it in a whole different galaxy, so it sounds like they can be relatively free of the previous, trilogy, which I think is probably a smart move. because there was so many people are tied up in the story of Shepard and all that stuff that went down, and the way they ended Mass Effect 3, there's not a whole lot to go on from there, since a lot of...
Well, I don't... Spoilers.
Yeah.
I haven't played, so...
Well, that's all I'll say. So I think going to a different galaxy is a smart move, but hopefully they have enough interest, good characters to get you back into that type of story. That's my first one, probably.
And your second one?
Legend of Zelda, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
The new Zelda game, which we hopefully will hear a release date, and hopefully will be in March, tomorrow, with the Nintendo Switch event they're doing, about an hour long. I will definitely be watching. So that's the new console that's coming out.
If I were a company like Nintendo and I knew that people were really looking forward to a game, and it was not going to be ready as soon as I wanted it to be, the way I would announce that at this event you're talking about, where people are really excited, it might be coming out in March, I'd be like, and coming out in March of 2020, it will be just really, really ruin the lives.
That would do it. I would not be able to handle that, because they basically sort of guaranteed that it would come out last year, which no, did not happen. But Zelda games have always been delayed multiple times, and I've yet to be disappointed by one of those. So, and this one, the open world nature of this one, and the art style, it just looks fantastic. I don't know if you've watched any of the videos on it.
It looks pretty awesome. I need to get a thing that'll play it, so it's going to be an expensive purchase.
Well, I think the rumor is the Switch is going to be starting at $250.
Okay.
So
that's reasonable.
Yeah, not too bad. So we'll have to see. But and then my last one is Persona 5.
Oh yeah.
Which, if I were Japanese or knew Japanese, I would already have played, because it's out in Japan, and for reasons unknown, it was supposed to come out Valentine's Day. It's now been delayed to April, which is not a significant amount of time to do much. I think people thought that they might want to... I think there's a couple big PlayStation exclusives coming out in February that they may have wanted to get out of the way of.
Oh,
that is
a strategic release? Well,
I think so.
Kind of evil.
But that game I am really looking forward to, because Persona series is probably one of my favorite RPG series. And it oozes style, and just...
Have you beaten all the other ones?
I have beaten Persona 4, and I got an okay way through Persona 3. But that, like the podcast, ceased a bit in the interim. So I need to get back into that one. But yeah, so...
And yeah, I don't have time for... I've got to finish The Witcher 3. I mean, all of the things that I would like to do this upcoming year are actually things that have already been out. Mass Effect, The Witcher 3, I got to finish that. I got to finish... Man, I was cruising in Dragon Age...
Inquisition?
Yeah, which was really good, actually.
I heard that was good.
Then I can't remember. I'm really good at getting a decent way through a game and just stopping cold for reasons I can't fully put my finger on. Dragon Age was really cool because it had this... You had a crew, and the combat system, you could direct the members of your crew in kind of a tacticsy way.
Oh, okay.
Which I always appreciate, a strategic element to the game. Witcher 3 is cool because the graphics are amazing, the story's really good, and the combat is really smooth and fluid, and you really feel, which I think is not always the case in melee-based games, you really feel like you're in control of the character's actions, and it feels like, even if you play it on the hardest difficulty, which I obviously do, you really feel like it's up to you to... You can do whatever you need to do, it's just a matter of whether or not you have the skill to do it.
Yeah, okay.
Which is always a good feel, like, of control in a game.
And I've heard they've made them a bit... Like, the initial... the first two Witcher games were extremely difficult in terms of combat and stuff, and it sounds like this has been a little bit more accessible while still retaining some of that difficulty that people do like.
Yeah, that I wouldn't know because I haven't played the first two. I'm very good at just jumping in to random series without There's probably a name for somebody like me who doesn't play through the entire series, like a bad derogatory internet name, but then just comes in and like, this
Johnny
is awesome.
Come Lately.
Yeah, there we go. Johnny Come Lately. People are like, this series has been out for 20 years. I'm like, but this is the coolest one, and I think this is what should change about it. And then
This is what should change them.
Other games I'm actually looking forward to. We Happy Few I am looking forward to because they're still working on the final release of that. I have it, and it looks great.
Oh, I was going to say, did that come out yet or no?
They've got it closer. They're pushing out hotfixes and stuff. I don't remember when the final version is supposed to come out.
Okay.
But I'm not going to play it. My thing is going to be I'm not playing anything until it's final anymore.
I think that's a good plan. Yeah.
I'm tired of, well, basically the game release model that exists today of release something that's in like late alpha or early beta and then just work through your technical issues after selling a bunch of copies.
The day one patch life has gotten pretty old.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's this game, now download this 15 gig patch is
right.
Is a bummer, for sure.
So We Happy Few. I actually want to start playing this Stardew Valley game that everyone's talking about.
I got that like a month ago, and I want to start that too. I think we should probably try to make that. See, there's all these games that I want to try to do as like NSF stuff, and that's definitely one, because that's something you can customize to a great degree. And
that'd be a good one. There's enough going on that I would enjoy if you, for example, are at the helm and just watching you play. I know that would be a good one for that.
And then Hitman's another one. Just like that's the one I think we need to get you local guys in a room together and planning an assassination and stuff, because like the videos I've watched, just the sheer amount of stuff you can do is fantastic. So, and some of it is absolutely hilarious. So
see, that is the kind of stuff that I really enjoy. Yeah. It's one reason. Speaking of games that we are playing currently, one that I had not heard about at all until it just popped up on my Steam suggestions. Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun, which is a mouthful, but it's a really cool third-person stealth game where you're these ninja guys and you can... I mean, there's a billion different ways to do each level. I believe there are 13, maybe, I haven't beaten it yet, but 13 maybe more really massive levels. And I first would play through and just try to beat the level, and then you can go back and there's a ton of achievements and like a speed run achievement on each level, and that's really fun to try to go as quickly as possible.
I say that's something if you ever feel like it, I'd watch you stream, because speed running stuff is like, I always like the strategy that goes into that and that stuff for sure. So,
and even on the hardest setting, which obviously I play on, it's once you've gotten like some of the planning for the level down, it really does reward you if you're kind of thinking about your path and how you want to beat the level, which is cool.
Okay.
So I feel really good about, I believe I've only beaten 3 of the levels under the speed run constraint.
Okay.
But one of them I beat speedrunning without... It's a big auto-save game where you auto-save, auto-load, stuff like that. But all 3 of the levels I've done under the time constraint, and I've also done it without dying once, which I'm really proud of.
Very impressive.
That's my objective for every level, which I don't think might be possible for me, because there's some really difficult stuff in this game. But it's an awesome game. Again, third person. You get to control up to 5 different guys, and depending on how good you are at controlling multiple people at once, you can do really cool things with that.
Okay.
Really enjoying Shadow Tactics, Blades of the Shogun. Man, I want to play Stardew Valley. I want to play, which we already talked about, I do want to do the Hitman for sure, because I really like the idea of planning out the mission in advance and then trying to execute that plan. I love the strategic element like that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I was thinking about getting that, speaking of... it's the hacking game, number 2. Rogue Hacker 2.
Is that the name of it?
No, that's what it is though. You're Rogue Grand Theft Auto Hacker number 2.
Oh, Watch Dogs.
Yeah, Watch Dogs. Thinking about getting that.
I've heard it's better. I heard it's better than the first one, which is good, but also probably not super difficult to be, because the first one was pretty disappointing. I think most people.
That's what everyone said.
But no, yeah, that's a similar, very open game, and you can do a lot of I've seen some funny stuff with that game as well.
Oh, Dishonored 2, which Madamus got me for Christmas. I'm excited to play that.
You really like that first one.
I did. Our companion T-Raptor played through that recently in the last few days, actually. But because he only had a few days to beat it, he went with the non-stealth kill everyone strategy, which doesn't take
His
as
ending
much.
probably was not very good.
That's what he said. He got a very chaotic ending. He did say he was disappointed by that because he very distinctly remembers at one point during the game that he overheard a conversation between two guards, and one of the guards was talking about his newborn son, and so he only knocked out that guard. He killed the other guy, but he only knocked out that guard, so he felt very merciful, and the game didn't reward that.
These games are just lazy sometimes. They didn't take that into account.
Aren't they? I know, like such T-Raptor the Merciful. I do like the idea. One thing I would like to do more of is just posting clips, but then you and I creating like ridiculous stories for the clips like that. That one would be a good one. I do that a lot in games. Have you seen? Madamus sent me this, but this guy had a bunch of tweets about one of his experiences in Skyrim.
Oh, about the dog and the
yes,
yes, that's
just trying to get a house for his dog. That's amazing because that's exactly the kind of stuff that I do. And in case you're not familiar with what this is,
what is
let me see it. Here, I can look it up. Skyrim dog tweets, which actually is dude tweets intense saga of adopting a dog in Skyrim. Patrick Linton is his name, and he's a writer and an avid player of the game.
So I'll try to add a window. I've been trying to add a window thing. Maybe I can do it so we can show it up here.
But the gist
browser
of
source.
Mr. Linton's. What's that?
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to.
Oh, if we could get windows, that'd be super cool. We'd look real professional then. Anyway, the gist of Mr. Linton's experience in Skyrim was nice positioning. I like that. Perfect. The gist of Mr. Linton's experience in Skyrim was that he found this dog. And even though this is outside of even the side quests or anything really related to the major part of the game, he decided he needed to give this dog a home. And so he goes through a bunch of effort to give this dog a safe home because he's taking this dog out into the world and he's afraid, even though, somebody might point out to us that the pets can't die in Skyrim, which is fine, we get it. But like me, Mr. Linton likes to take what I would call a, quote, realistic, unquote, approach to games where sometimes I just invent my own objective in the game. I just see something, I'm like, well, yeah, sure, there's no actual way to interact with this element of the game, and there's no real story here. But I invent one, like there's a dog out in the world. Obviously, you have to keep the dog safe. And so he goes through this amazing journey to try to give his dog a safe home. And it is an absolutely incredible piece of games writing, probably the greatest games writing I've ever read in my entire life.
It's pretty great.
But I do this kind of stuff all the time, just waste my time with really pointless things. Like, for example, in Shadow Tactics, for a long time, I wouldn't kill the civilians, even though it was really, really hard, because if they detect you, they're going to run and tell the guards. But I didn't want to kill them. They're just civilians, man. They're just trying to make crops and stuff. Yep, and this is, as you can see, Mr. Linton really went through a lot if you're watching the video.
All right, so now that I finally got this working, I want to play this one Persona 5 trailer real quick.
All right, and we're going to play Persona
just to
5.
give people a sense of the stuff, because Persona has definitely increased in popularity, but
I think you've shown me this trailer, and it is fantastic.
So, yeah.
An Atlas Games production. This comment is going to be late because I'm watching the video through your feed, but I wish I could dive through a stained glass window so gracefully.
I know.
Oh, that guy's back. Creepy nose guy.
Oh, yeah. Can't have it without Creepy Nose Guy.
What's Creepy Nose Guy's deal?
He's in the Velvet Room. It doesn't make it. I don't know if you're ever supposed to actually know what he's doing. But he sure talks plenty.
Geez, the graphics in this.
I say it, just the music, the menu style, just
Some of these guys look familiar to old Persona characters. Are they bringing people back? Is that
I'm not sure. I know like the main three that you see there, like they kind of look similar to like archetypes you've seen, but I think they're different characters.
That subway car driver, I don't like his look.
No, he's a little creepy. Just like the way the menu, like the person in the menu changes position when you change stuff.
Yeah, this is super solid looking.
And really Japanese, so.
Super Japanese. I do love, because it's all the characters that I've seen so far in what I can only, I guess, call typical Japanese fashion. Super like serious, well done, and then there's this crazy cat.
Yeah,
there's like three just normal humans.
Definitely.
And then just a weird cat,
yeah,
which I respect a lot.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it's tough to describe Persona. You just kind of have to play it because it looks really, it's weird, but it looks really weird when you just kind of see it. But when you play it, you get into the characters, you get into the combat's really fun. The world is really well built, and that's just kind of it gets you hooked.
Well, I think that'd be as good a place as any to probably end this little broadcast. I think we've gone about a half hour.
Yeah, just about. I want to shout out AGDQ going on right now.
That's right.
It's a speed running marathon for the Prevent Cancer Foundation. I think they're already over $500,000. It goes 24/7 for about a week. So they got some fantastic races. They got a lot more races this year, which is a lot of fun. Watching people do that stuff live is very impressive. So. I think I'm hosting that whenever I'm offline, so that's definitely worth checking out.
Awesome, and as always, I want to apologize for things we didn't get to. We didn't get to our Barbie Horse Adventures Wild Horse Rescue tips and tricks, but next week for sure we will finally get you all of those pro tips and tricks you've been waiting for. Very much looking forward to finally beating that game in 2017.
Absolutely.
All right. For No Shots Fired, I am Valen. This is Doc, and we have been your, I think, graceful hosts for the evening. Please tune in next time, and who knows when that'll be. But tune in next time.
Let's shoot for next week.
All right. This time next week. So we're going to broadcast at about 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 Central, 8 Mountain, 7 Pacific, on January the 18th.
Yeah, it's the 11th today. Yep.
And if we're not here, it's because we're dead. So have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night.